Welcome to the 5G Podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversations about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
I guess that's what we're going to start on, huh?
We'll just jump into that right now.
I was just pulling that up to...
It's like, well,
I have
discussion. I have thoughts on this topic, Stephen. We must...
Alrighty, well...
We're going to monetize our discussion. Turn the camera on.
That might be a little bit low.
Oh, bummer.
Too much knee in the shot there.
Yeah, no knee pics.
Should we start an OnlyFans where it's just pictures of our knees?
Knees.
Speaking of that, which, not the topic I was...
No.
I just saw an article, or not a video of a guy who is a heftier dude, and he started an OnlyFans,
Nice.
and all he does on it... What are you doing, dog?
Dogs? Pictures of dogs?
No, all he does on it is send nice messages to women.
Oh.
Like, women subscribe to him,
Yeah.
and, you know, he just
Or is it video?
like videos
Oh,
of
video,
like, I love you, like,
You're
just like,
worth
yeah,
something.
like motivational type or like lovey-dovey type stuff or whatever.
Huh.
And he makes stupid money,
Well, yeah.
which fair enough.
That's intriguing. In theory, everyone who always jumps to the defense of OnlyFans, that's what it's supposed to be. You're just supposed to do anything for your fans, but then it just turned into pornography immediately. But
Like immediately.
yeah, where like 99% of OnlyFans is pornography. But
Yeah.
it's just supposed to be like Patreon. It's another way to support your favorite people, your favorite creators.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
that's
we should start an OnlyFans. We'll call it. What was that one? What the name we came up with like a freaking 6 months ago?
2 guys on a couch.
2 guys, 1 couch, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anyway, I was talking before the cameras started rolling. We
That's
were
right. The camera started rolling right now. That's
Yeah. Cut.
Magic
Well,
the Gathering.
we were chatting about the topics we wanted to cover this week, and we pulled up some of our materials, and we just started talking. We were like, wait.
Quick.
So we were talking about the new artifact type, which was bobblehead.
Yeah.
So okay.
Taken out of context, bobbleheads are coming to Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. What? Okay. Yeah, we got to probably explain this for the good people.
Gathering, new crossover. I think we literally finished talking about Doctor Who 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or
Last week.
Last week's episode that came out 2 weeks ago. Doctor Who. Now it's never-ending spoiler season. Come on, we're on to the next one. It's Magic the Gathering and Fallout. The Fallout games, the Fallout universe.
Like Fallout New Vegas, Fallout
3, Fallout 4, and 76.
the Bethesda game,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Mhm. Single player, post-apocalyptic sci-fi RPG. Pretty good games. I've enjoyed all of the modern ones. I've played them all. Very fun. They're inherently a single player experience, but the universe is cool. And so they're doing at least 4 commander decks. We're not sure if they're doing like extra boosters like they did with the Doctor Who decks. That's not confirmed yet, but 4 commander decks, and I believe they come out in March. They already spoiled the color combinations and the 4 face commanders. They even did 1 extra commander. They spoiled a bunch this week. 2 new mechanics, or at least a new mechanic and a new token type. Tons to talk about, as well as a new artifact type, bobblehead.
Yeah, and that's the one that we were kind of chatting about him, and that's the one that I found very interesting because this card that they came out with is called Intelligent Bobblehead. It's 3 colorless mana, and it's a mana rock.
It's a mana rock.
3 mana for 1 mana. Tap 1 mana of any color. Not great, but you can pay.
That's the
baseline little like
the lowest bar.
But then you can pay 5 and tap Intelligence Bobblehead, draw X cards, where X is the number of bobbleheads you control. So it's like, there's only 1 bobblehead that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to come out with at least like 2 or 3 to make that even worse.
So in game, I'll say in game, and then what they said about the Magic cards. But in game, it's a fun little Easter egg. And they at least started in Fallout 3. I remember that one more distinctly. New Vegas had some. I don't know about Fallout 4, but there's 7 stats in the game, right? Every game with the strength, agility, whatever. There's the Fallout universe. They have special is the acronym for their 7 stats. So strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. Spells special. And in game, you can find a bobblehead for each of those 7 stats, and it gives you +1 to that stat. So not only is that a fun Easter egg you'll find in game, but it actually gives you a cool bonus. And so they said for the Magic cards, they're doing the 7 bobbleheads.
Cool. So they'll have 7 of them, and they'll all be colorless, presumably.
Presumably, as well as they're all going to affect like how many bobbleheads you have. So this one is, I'm assuming because it's intelligence, you're drawing cards equal to the number of bobbleheads you have. I'm assuming the other ones might do another scaling effect.
Oh, I wonder what the luck one's gonna be.
Yeah. I'm sure somewhere in there it's just like, gain life, or maybe
Yeah, I'm sure
twice
gain life
the
is
life. Yeah. Gain
twice the life of the number of bobbleheads you have. If you have all 7 of them, that's
All 7,
14 life. That's not
every
bad.
turn. It's not bad.
Yeah.
If they all cost like 5 mana to activate, but
Yeah,
you could use
but they're
5 of your bobbleheads to pay for the 6th bobblehead. You know, there's ways to work with that.
yeah, and especially like I mean, if you want to use all of them every turn, that's not feasible
No.
necessarily. But if you're like, they're good, not value pieces. That's not what I'm looking for. But like, I could gain. Oh, they're good variety pieces.
It's and it's a mana sink as well. Just like
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to do on this turn. I
Yeah.
might as well.
I might as well gain 7 life, gain 14 life, draw 7
7
cards,
cards, yeah.
5 cards if you have 5 of them out or whatever. Because theoretically, you're not going to have all of them out unless you go searching for them, which probably not what you're going to spend your
Probably
demonic
not
tutor on.
amazing, but fun.
Probably
It's-
not worth the diabolic tutor.
It's a new subtype bobblehead
Yeah.
for artifacts. So
That'd be cool.
in Fallout 3, I recall at least, they also, so those were like your main stats, and then they had all like skills like explosives and all of that stuff. There was also a bobblehead for each one of those, and so there was like 20 something extra, and so people were like, are there going to be 27 bobbleheads? And they said, no, we're just doing 7.
That makes sense though.
Yeah.
Like that.
Those are the main ones. The
Yeah.
strength, whatever.
So
But drop 27 cards.
yeah,
You can dream.
yeah, that'd be crazy.
The bobblehead deck.
Well, what did I do that one time? I drew 50 cards,
50 cards
and then discarded
you discard
3. But then I had
The reliquary tower you drew in the 50 cards, I'm pretty sure.
Uh-huh.
So you're like, all right, now I get to keep them all.
yeah. So I think I played that as my land for turn or something.
Ooh, lucky me. It was in the top half of my deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, without going infinite, that was probably one of the biggest ones I've seen. Draw 50 cards, discard 3. In one turn.
It's pretty good. And then the next turn I got almost every single land in my deck out.
Yeah. That sweet Cultivator Colossus
Yeah.
combo.
Anyway. So they came out with 2, at least so far, 2 new interesting mechanics that don't seem to be, they're not like a villainous choice in the
No.
in the Doctor Who ones where it's like, really?
Each opponent makes a villainous choice. I'm like, okay, how is this gonna?
Yeah. These ones actually seem like, so let's start with the least, let's start with the token, the junk token.
Junk tokens is a new token.
So now we've got treasure, clue, artifact, sorry, not artifact, food, now junk, right?
Junk.
Those are the 4 types of
Of like main artifact
Yeah.
tokens, which
utility tokens, I guess you
Yeah.
could call them.
which looking back at the history of things, it's like, yeah, I guess we're kind of due for a new one. We've had treasure, food, and clues in for a while. We really just started getting like better food synergy,
Yeah.
which is cool to see. Maybe now we're moving on to another one. And the design space is definitely there for it. This seems like a pair card. Totally makes sense. Different effects in the Fallout set, and I posit that perhaps in future sets, we'll just create junk tokens. And they're tap, sacrifice, exile the top card of your library. You can play it this turn, only as a sorcery. So sorcery speed, kind of a card draw, if you can play that card.
Yeah.
So compared to a clue token, which is pay 2 mana, sacrifice, just draw the card. This one's no mana. So there's pros and cons there, but you have to play it that turn, and it has to be your turn. I think it's cool. I think it's good. Junk tokens.
I'm interested to see what happens with certain decks that use cards from exile and
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah, anytime something says like exile the top card of your library, all the like everywhere online is just like, oh, Prosper. Wake up, Prosper, you got a new value piece.
Yeah.
He's the biggest red-black commander that's cast things from exile, because anytime he casts a thing from exile, you get a treasure token.
Oh,
So you
jeez.
just refund free mana. Like, yeah, you can make some nasty decks with Prosper. But there's a lot of commanders that do that now, in several different color combinations. Most of them red is kind of the
Exile casting
yeah.
color.
Red's identity is kind of this. They don't draw cards very well, but they do like exile cards and cast them this turn if you can.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's good design space.
yeah, that is cool. That is cool.
Tokens.
And then the other thing that we're getting is rad counters.
Rad counters, which is a new type of counter that goes on players.
It's like a poison counter.
Yes, poison counters, experience counters, I think are the two we've seen before. Technically, energy counters as well, which we can get to one of the commanders later, is also came back in this set.
Oh.
Those are counters that are on players,
Mhm.
which are usually pretty hard to interact with.
Yeah.
And so there's like a bit of divisiveness there. I think there's one card that enables a lot of weird combos like that, where it's like players can't get counters. So it's really niche, but there's just not interaction with it. But this one, I think we'll probably have interaction with. They're called rad counters, and you
As in radiation.
radiation, and the idea is they're negative, so you're putting them on your opponents like a poison counter. You don't want them. And that player who's irradiated, it's at the beginning of their pre-combat main phase. They count their number of rad counters and mill that many cards. So if I have 5 rad counters, I mill 5. For each non-land card milled that way, you lose 1 life and a rad counter. So you heal yourself, but you take the damage. So it's like, of the 5 I milled, I had 3 lands and 2 creatures or whatever. I take 2 damage, but then now I'm down to only 3 rad counters next turn.
Yeah.
So that's another cool thing. One of the decks seems pretty focused on that. It's like the mutant radiation deck.
Yeah, I saw there's like a card that is just literally like add a rad counter to target enemy.
Mm-hmm. And I
Proliferate.
think the commander has to do with like, every time a non-land card gets milled, he gets a +1/+1 counter or something. So he buffs himself up as he like poisons you or irradiates you. It's cool. Again, more cool design space. I'm totally okay with that, and that's not so constricted to like the Fallout universe.
Yeah.
They could usually have radiation come back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking of like you go and make like a black green deck with like oozes or something like that, a radiation ooze or something, or like a mutant hydra or something like that.
It's another. That's things like I think about with the Universes Beyond stuff. It's like, how well does this play with like normal Magic the Gathering cards?
Yeah.
And I'm okay with this. This seems to work.
Yeah. The bobblehead one is probably like not.
It's probably just gonna be those 7.
And well, but if the other 6 are valuable enough, you could play them in like standard deck, like normal commander deck.
Normal commander deck.
But you're gonna have to play at least 2 or 3 of them, or probably
To
3 or
get
3.
any
You're
value.
probably gonna have to play all 7 of them in a deck
Yeah.
in order to get any value.
And we'll
taking up 7 slots in a commander deck is like,
It's pretty rough.
yeah,
It'll be casual for sure, but we'll also have to see what the other bobbleheads do.
yeah.
But I think these two, the rad counters and the junk tokens, are great. They're great additions to the commander format. Kind of excited to see what they're going to do with them going forward. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Anything? One thing that I thought was, so they came out with all their a list of spoilers of what, 50 cards?
Yeah, 50-ish, and a couple of them had alternate arts already. Some of them were basic.
Yeah, they came out with like the art for like a soul ring and like the command tower.
Command tower.
The art knocked them out of the park.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely.
So good.
So, I mean, dare I say the best art in recent Magic the Gathering cards?
I would say certainly as far as like even the if you want to narrow it down, the University Beyond stuff, totally. I mean, it's
Yeah.
100%. But I
Like if you look at the Soul Ring or the Command Tower from like the Tyranids deck or from any of the Warhammer decks,
those are pretty good.
which were like good. They look good. They were
Yeah.
good. These ones just Grand Slam compared to those.
Yeah, they're
Grand Slam compared to
pretty
those.
good. It's because Fallout is a quirky universe as well, where it's like most things are just kind of like gray and dismal. It's like an apocalypse. But then like their alternate universe is like, for whatever reason, we never got microchips, so it's like their technology is still stuck in the 50s.
Yeah.
And so they have this like 50s like cartoony aspects sometimes, and so it's like the alternate art is on that, but then the original art is like the grim, dark,
Yeah.
like wasteland. So it is pretty cool to see.
It's really good looking. Maybe we'll flash a couple of those up on the screen
Yeah,
here.
they
just
have Wasteland, which is a great Magic the Gathering reprint, but that's literally what they call it in the Fallout universe, like Roman Wasteland. So and that art.
Yeah,
is
and some of the
great.
lands were really good looking too. Yeah, they really good looking cards.
The swamps, the forests.
Yeah.
They all look great. The swamp just looks like radiation grossness.
Muck.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, good art. We had a high this year with or we had a high when they came out with the Warhammer decks.
Yeah.
And then they kind of took a nosedive.
Again, Warhammer decks technically came out at the end of last year, so
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're
Yeah,
kind of on
yeah.
like this year time.
2023 is kind of
Well, they had like the in my opinion, Lord of the Rings was not good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like horrendous.
Sure.
But if we're giving like the Warhammer decks like a 90%,
Yeah.
like an A minus, I would give the
Lord of the Rings.
like a C minus D plus,
Barely passable.
and then Commander Masters was like
Commander.
a 20%.
That was failing grade.
I would give Doctor Who maybe a C,
From everything I've read on it, seems pretty good.
maybe a C. I was a fan. I'm more of a fan of those cards than the Lord of the Rings cards,
Yeah.
which is sad because I love Lord of the Rings.
Exactly, and neither of us is huge Doctor Who fan,
Yeah.
but
But in terms of like the card design and like kind of their interactions with one
Slightly
another, it was they looked better.
yeah.
And then these ones I'm kind of up in like that so far,
So far,
like that A minus B plus range so far. I don't know if that's
it looks like 2024 will be off to a good start. I'll say, as I've thought about the cards this week, I'm almost tempted just to buy the precons.
so. I was gonna ask you this.
Yeah,
They're out for pre-order. You can pre-order them now.
and yeah.
Are we?
It crossed my mind. I was looking at Amazon prices already.
Did we need to go in on us four? Get how many do we have to buy to get like a discount? Do you think?
If you buy all 4 as a pack, you get a discount for sure. Like they sell the whole box,
bundle.
The bundle. Because I think they're each like $45 on pre-order right now
Well, that's not bad.
on Amazon. Which if you lock it in, you get that price right now. If they go
Heck,
up, you don't pay
That
more.
might be worth just like buy a couple of them and sell later.
And the bundle, I want to say, is like $160, so you get each for like $40. And they seem good. I'm just saying, I might break. It's still a Wizards of the Coast boycott, but I'm supporting Fallout.
Maybe we talk to our buddies and each throw in $40 and we can.
I'm already committed to buy one of them.
Oh really? For your brother though.
My little brother.
That's not your boycott being realistic
No,
though.
no.
That's just
He already paid me. He is currently unavailable in Brazil.
how's he doing?
Pretty good. He's actually heading out to like his actual mission field this week. So
Cool.
but he's loving learning Portuguese. He loves the language.
That's such a good
He's
language.
like, this
man.
thing is a blast. He loves it.
It's so much better. It's so much better than Spanish.
Oh,
Like I took 3 years of Spanish in high school. My family's all speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Like I can speak it decently well.
yeah, I can understand you. Easy.
The problem isn't my grammar or anything like that. It's pronunciation because
Yeah.
I throw in Portuguese pronunciation because the words are very close. They're very similar. But I think Portuguese is just so much better.
Yeah, maybe it's a slightly different topic, but the more I hear Spanish a decent amount at work. Like a lot of the engineers on my team or some of the technicians I work with, like a lot of people know Spanish. It's Arizona, but the more I've been thinking about it this week, I'm just like, man, I think I don't like Mexican Spanish because everything I hear is Mexican Spanish, and then I'm like, well, I can't really understand what they're saying as much as I used to. But then, like, for instance, I listen to some music from Argentina or like Argentina news, whatever. I'll get clips of that in Argentine Spanish, and I was like, I understood this guy perfectly.
Yeah, no,
Still.
I do that.
And
Yeah,
I was like, that's weird to me, but I just the accent, the words they use, their flow, their canter of speaking is just easier for me, and I think I like it better.
yeah.
I'm gonna say better than Mexican Spanish.
That's interesting. It's interesting that there's so many different Spanishes.
Yeah.
Well, they're same with Portuguese, right?
Same with Portuguese, right? I'm sure Brazilian versus your African Portuguese.
Yeah, Brazilian Portuguese versus Portuguese versus Mozambican Portuguese.
That's-
Mozambican Portuguese, they pronounce the R's in words.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So instead of saying real, which is the currency of Brazil, is that
Is it real?
real, they say real, realmente.
Huh.
Arrependimento instead of arrependimento.
That is pretty interesting.
But they understand arrependimento.
Yeah.
And Portuguese and Brazilian, it's just Mozambicans who say the R's.
That's really interesting.
So I spoke Spanglified Portuguese.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure, at least in Spanish, everybody kind of teams up and they make fun of the European Spanish. Like, the Spaniards, de España. It's just like you even though there's differences, you're like, Europe is where all the languages came from, so they think they're more refined. But you make fun of those languages.
Yeah.
They're dialects.
Well, just like we make fun of English.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's like I think Europe actually just gets made fun of a lot.
Justifiably so.
Yeah.
Justifiably so.
You can trace all of our problems back to Europe. Not wrong. They deserve to be made fun of.
Who invented communism? European.
Europeans.
Right. Was Marx a European Russian or a Asian Russian?
Asian Russian. I don't know, actually.
I think he was a European Russian.
Mm-hmm. He was West Side.
West.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. I think he was on the west side of the. Yeah, is it the Urals?
Yeah.
The Ural Mountains.
That mountain range there.
Anyway,
Geography lesson.
way off topic.
Totally.
So you're buying one of the precons, at least one.
At least
for your
one.
brother.
I sent the deck list. I emailed him this week, so you can see the news. Before he left, he's like, "I want a Brotherhood of Steel deck, which is the cool faction in game that they wear the sick power armor. They got all the fancy energy weapons, and they're just the classic like chaotic good of like we will bring order to the apocalypse." Sometimes by force if necessary.
By book or by bullet.
Yes, and that is actually kind of funny. They have like their faction almost split into like the warriors and like the scientists.
That's hilarious.
There's like sometimes they fight. They come to heads of like disagreeing on things. So they don't have a strict Brotherhood of Steel deck, but they just have one they call like the science deck. So that maybe that would be end up what I'm getting for him. All the other ones, I'm not sure yet. I almost maybe want to see the alternate commanders. None of the other three kind of like totally capture my interest. But this one, the science deck, the face commander they have is Dr. Madison Lee. She's I'm going to say relatively side character in Fallout 3 and 4. She ends up working with the Brotherhood of Steel. Again, one of the scientists who does, she's integral in some of the like revitalization science that they're working on of like fix the apocalypse.
Sure.
The entire place is a nuclear wasteland. But as we spoiled earlier, she brings back energy counters. It's pretty cool. Haven't ever really been able to do this in Commander effectively because they were only in one standard set. But she's red, blue, white. She's the Jeskai deck. And it's whenever you cast an artifact.
Why is red, blue, white called Jeskai instead of USA?
Instead of America. It used to be called America. Before 15, they went to a new plane for the first time where they gave names to the other 5 3-color combinations that didn't have names before then.
Well, that doesn't matter.
I know.
I refuse to call it Jess Guy.
If you go online, a lot of like deck building databases, they still call it like America.
That's funny.
Yeah. Red, white, blue should be America.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's fine. She's a 2/3 human scientist, whatever. You're not playing her for that. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you get 1 energy counter. Already, that's a good way to build them in Commander.
And energy counters are beneficial.
Yes, energy counters are good, and again, they're on yourself, so they're really hard to interact with. Proliferate still works. Same thing with the rad counters.
Yeah.
From before. Player counters, you can proliferate.
These
Proliferate.
proliferate works on every counter.
Yeah, you choose any number, any counters on any permanents or players, and you add an extra one. So then she has 3 different tap abilities that you tap her and pay a different energy cost. So she has a 1, a 3, and a 5. So if you tap her, pay 1 energy, you give a creature +1 power, trample, and haste till end of turn.
Okay.
I like the haste, it's fine. You pay 3 energy and tap her, draw a card, it's fine. Pay 5 energy and tap her, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. But you can do that at instant speed. So the tapped is like a minor drawback. You can't cheese in a blocker.
But if it's an ETB trigger,
if it has an ETB trigger, that's excellent. If you do it at the end of the previous player's turn, you can untap with your guy and attack with him right away. Or it's any artifact card. So if you just have a good artifact that got destroyed earlier in the game. So she's clearly an artifact deck. You want to cast artifacts, get energy.
Yeah.
And you get either trample and haste
so
on a guy.
it's whenever you cast an artifact?
Yeah.
Okay.
So her last ability doesn't refund you 1 energy.
Yeah. Well, I was also thinking the tokens, the artifact tokens.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you have 1 energy. It's fine.
So you'll put the 7 bobbleheads in her deck.
Probably.
The 7 probably are going to be in her deck.
Yeah, we don't actually have deck lists yet, but probably, I would assume. That seems to be the most artifact-centric. One of the other ones, potentially, the next commander I can read off, is red, green, white. So it's Naya. And it's, for anybody who knows Fallout, it's Dogmeat. Ever loyal. Dogmeat is everybody's favorite companion.
Oh, it's a new dog commander.
Yeah, new dog commander. And Dogmeat in the games is fantastic. They had a Dogmeat in Fallout 3. They had one in Fallout 4. He's like he's not a meme, I guess, but he's a staple to Fallout.
Sure.
You gotta have Dogmeat, your loyal dog companion. He wears a little bandana, just follows you around and rips apart animals for you, and it's great. Dogmeat. So he's red, green, white. He's 3 for 3/3 legendary dog. When he enters the battlefield, you mill 5 cards, but then you return an aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. So he's kind of like an aura equipment deck. But then, whenever a creature you control that's enchanted or equipped attacks, you create a junk token. So he could also have a minor artifact theme with equipments and junk tokens, which, as you recall, they kind of draw your cards. You can exile the top card of your library and cast it that turn. So he seems pretty like a simple effect, but he uses the junk tokens. He's got aura equipment synergy. He's a dog, so there's synergies with that.
Doesn't seem like he would be a good dog tribal commander, though.
Not terribly, no. There are a couple of things you could put in the deck to just think about buffing him.
Yeah.
I think there's even one where it's other dogs you control have indestructible or something like that. I'd have to double check that one. So. But it does seem more centered around the Voltron that go tall, stack a bunch of ores and equipments
on a couple creatures.
Or Dogmeat himself for the commander damage.
Mm.
You get the junk tokens, which is kind of like extra draw. So it's not bad. It's pretty good. That color combination is never totally called out to me. I actually don't have a deck that's red, green, white. So I was like, oh, maybe I'd end up getting that deck just to have as the precon and never modify it. I'd call that one my red, green, white deck.
What are you at on your 32 deck challenge?
I counted them. I think I'm at 20.
Got 12 more.
Yeah.
I think eventually I'm going to try and do the same thing. Just because it sounds like a cool thing to do.
Years-long project.
Yeah.
It's fun. So I just printed the colorless deck. I put it together, actually.
Oh, with that one guy.
Yeah, the Manifest
yeah.
Tribunal.
Ugh. It's gonna be interesting. You gonna play it on
It's weird.
next Thursday?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
I'll bring it. Test it out.
Cool.
So that's dog meat. I don't know if you had the other commanders. If you want to read them off, or should I just keep going?
Just keep going. I don't have them
going.
pulled up.
Cool.
I don't know which ones are which.
The next one, I believe, is like sort of the Fallout New Vegas themed deck. They all seem to almost be themed after a different game. Which is
Okay. Yeah.
cool. Fallout New Vegas, which there was some speculation if they were even going to admit the existence of Fallout New Vegas, because that one technically wasn't Bethesda. It was a Obsidian, like a little offshoot. But New Vegas was a great game. So confirmed, they do admit that New Vegas existed. It's the Caesar's Legion deck, which he was a great character in Fallout New Vegas. He had this great faction because it's like 200 something years in the future, and so he found a book about Caesar, and he created his whole faction based upon those ideals. He's building an ideal republic to try to like restore order to the apocalypse.
Interesting.
So he calls himself Caesar, and he's got his legion, which as the more you dive into the history and doing all the side quests and learning more about him, it started out as a good idea, like building a republic, but then it like inherently led to some other problems where by the time you're playing Fallout New Vegas, they're the bad guys because like slavery.
Because government.
Also because government. Well, so their counterpart that's technically the good guys in Fallout New Vegas, they call them the NCR, the New California Republic, and you're playing in Las Vegas, right? So they're spreading east. Caesar's Legion is like Arizona, Utah area, and they're spreading west. So you're kind of caught in the middle. The NCR, I don't know, read some books on democracy. They're trying to make a perfect democracy, which also has inherent problems.
Perfect democracies are dumb.
Yeah, so it's a really cool game. That's one of the aspects I've liked. If you're seeing, you're like, both these governments suck. So that's one of your options in game is to just like, I am my own government. You can fight against both factions.
That's funny.
And you get a giant robot army to help you with that. So
That's even more funny.
it's hilarious. So Caesar, cool character. There's a bit of the background for that. He's the red, white, black deck. So he's Mardu.
Red, white, black.
He's a 4 human soldier. His ability seems okay. I'll be a little basic. It's whenever you attack, you may sacrifice another creature, and when you do, you choose 2 of the following like 3 bullet points he has. You create 2 1/1 red and white soldier creature tokens with haste that are tapped and attacking. You draw a card, lose a life, or you deal damage equal to the number of creature tokens you control to target opponent. Just kind of seems like red, white, black aggro. You want to...
Yeah, I feel like that might be a Commander Voltron right there.
Or you get... Because you need creatures to sacrifice whenever you attack in order to get those things. But
Yeah.
he doesn't have to attack. So you can cast him.
Oh, it's whenever you attack?
Yeah, just whenever you attack.
Sorry, I thought it was whenever he attacked.
Nope. Whenever you attack, you can sacrifice another creature besides him.
Gotcha.
And then maybe you get 2 more tokens that you could sacrifice next turn because they don't go away. You draw a card and lose a life, so it helps you replenish a little bit. Or if you already have like 20 tokens, 20 creature tokens, you deal damage equal to the number of creature tokens you control to target opponent. So it's a creature token aggressive strategy because that one seems good.
He's in red.
Red, yeah.
So you get some goblins in there.
Yeah, a bunch of goblins. He's a human soldier. He makes other soldiers.
Yeah.
If you have ways to double attack triggers, because again, if you have like 20 creature tokens, and if you can double that, you can deal 40 damage to target opponent before you even go to combat, or before you actually deal damage with your creatures. Caesar can just shoot him. Seems all right. I'm excited to see the rest of that deck.
Well, and also, does he have green?
No.
Okay. I was just thinking of like your little squirrel infinite combo that you have in your food token deck or whatever.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, I do 60 billion damage. because I have 60 billion squirrel creature tokens.
Yeah, exactly. Like, make a lot of tokens, swing them at one person, but then deal the damage to another guy. Like, it's pretty good. Maybe he's got a good wall, so you can't get through his creatures.
Mm-hmm.
It seems all right. It seems like a cool strategy.
Well, and also, I feel like the strategy there would be get him onto the board, obviously, and then get as many, or get as many creature tokens as you can,
Mm-hmm.
and then attack with one of them.
Yeah, you just need 2 attack. It's whenever you attack, you sacrifice a creature, and to get 2 of those effects.
So you could even sacrifice the one that is attacking.
Yeah, if you wanted.
I mean, if it's going to get blocked anyway,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like you might as well sack it and then just deal the damage from all of the other creature tokens.
Yep. It's not bad.
And then draw a card or whatever.
Yeah, I don't see it as like insanely strong, but
Be pretty cool.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool idea. Mardu, red, white, black is one of those color combinations. It's always struggled a little bit in Commander because it's, the color combination tends to be aggressive.
Sure.
Aggressive decks in Commander aren't always that good, or they're just kind of one note, like a Voltron deck. Where
Yeah.
it's like, your Commander gets destroyed, sucks to be you. So that seems like a good design space. The last deck, they're all 3 color decks, which is cool. Should mean lots of new cards in that color. That was one thing with the Doctor Who decks, and they admitted this. They're like, Doctor Who tends to lean blue, like the universe. They're all sciencey, so there's a lot of blue cards.
I mean, that's hard.
Yeah, you got to keep the flavor. So
Exactly. I don't blame them for any of that.
No.
That's reasonable.
So this one is black, green, blue. It's the mutant deck, mutant creatures, because that's another fun thing about Fallout is you get to see a bunch of like concepts of like irradiated animals. So like the cows just have 2 heads, and that's just normal now. And they're like
Better to graze with.
and they're non-hostile. They're chill. Some of the hostile ones you find out in doing some of the like the research. You're reading the computer logs and the books and everything. They have I'll get to those ones later. Those ones are technically weird science experiments, but the big one everybody talks about is the Death Claw. Is an irradiated like lizard. And it's just a big like bipedal like ginormous dinosaur looking thing.
Interesting.
Scary face and horns. They're like the toughest enemy in the game. The Death Claws. A couple of the technically weird science experiments, but also still irradiation related. They have coyotes that were crossed with rattlesnakes. So that's a little frightening. And then that was a pest, and so again, some crazy scientist was like, we got to come up with a way to kill these things. So they made just like giant wasps, like ginormous wasps, and now they released both of those into the wasteland.
Genius.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Genius.
So, there's crabs. There's these mutated crabs that are really annoying. Because you just like, they got this big, again, they're bipedal again. But they got the huge shell on their back, so they're so well armored. This commander, he's the wise Mothman. He's a Mothman. Insect mutant 4/4. No, 3/3, sorry. He's flying, and whenever he enters the battlefield or attacks, each player gets a rad counter. So we said those were negative, so you're giving them to yourself as well. But that's because his next ability is whenever 1 or more non-land cards are milled, you put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of non-land cards milled this way. So you're milling yourself too because you want that trigger to spread out 1/1 counters on your creatures.
You say he was green?
Yeah, he's green. Green, blue, black. He's Sultai. So inherently, he seems a little maybe like underpowered, but it's as we mentioned earlier with the rad counters, that's good design space. It's cool. You're spreading out the rad counters. You're doing some milling, but you're not winning by milling. He lets you get counters on your creatures, so they're bigger, so you can attack. Milling is just like a side theme.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is my opinion. If I were designing a game, and I was coming up with a new mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done this in the past differently,
Yeah.
where they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just make this mechanic, and we'll try to like make it just as strong as the other mechanics." And then because, and this is not necessarily the fault of anyone at Wizards of the Coast,
Yeah.
but you can think about these like interactions all you want, but then there's some crazy human being who posts on Reddit like, "Hey, if you have these 3 cards, you win the game."
Yeah, infinite combo.
With like this one random like,
Kaboom.
and it's like, and then everyone at Wizards of the Coast is probably like, "Oh crap!"
Whoops.
So my guess is that when they come out with new, especially when it's a new token or a new counter, it's not just like a new like ability on a card, because then you can just ban the card, right? But if you're coming up with a new interaction of like many cards,
What do you ban every card that interacts?
yeah, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
And so I think they're probably like, okay, we're going to take this a little bit slow. The first couple are not going to be the most amazing,
Yeah.
but then we'll see where it falls,
Yeah, they
and then increase the power from there.
they plan Magic sets, they've said at least like 2 years in advance.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
And so that's why we had battles earlier this year as a new card type. I
Yeah.
haven't seen any battles since then.
Yeah.
Because they planned that 2 years ago, and then they were waiting to see how that did.
Yeah.
So probably the same thing here. They put this in a Universes Beyond and a supplementary product. But as I said earlier, as of right now, it seems like they'd be okay putting that into other sets.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're waiting to see how these ones play. How
Yeah, it'll
it
be
looks.
interesting.
So that is kind of like a generous. It's a safe way to play it with the rad counters. We'll just make a simple commander. He just puts +1/+1 counters on your guys. Does a little bit of milling.
Yeah.
He's in green, blue, black, which sometimes likes the self mill, so you can work with your graveyard or other people's graveyards.
I don't think it's a bad commander
No.
necessarily. I just think that they're trying to be cautious when when you have the
And I think it'll be fun too, based on some of the other ones other cards they spoiled. Some of the creatures, nothing too crazy to write home about. But again, the flavor, the art looks good. You get the Death Claw they spoiled. Some mutants, some ghouls they call them in the Fallout universe, are just like heavily irradiated humans, but they just like their brain turns into mush, so they're really zombies.
with okay, yeah, sorry. That was a
Nope.
random thought that I've thought through it already and it's not right.
Oh, gotcha.
Sorry. I was going to ask if with junk counters you can sack it and exile the card, and then it says play it. You may play it
You
this
may
turn.
play it this turn, yeah.
Does that give your creatures flash, or this still has to be playable that turn?
Yeah, and junk, you can only sacrifice your junk at sorcery speed.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's how they power limited.
yeah,
that.
I was gonna say, like, if you had like 4 junk tokens, you're like, I'm gonna exile all 4 of these right now at the end of someone's turn, and then or whatever.
Not quite. They did balance that a little bit, unlike treasure tokens. Looking at you, treasure tokens. Should have been sorcery speed
Or clue tokens.
or clue tokens. Or food
Tre-
tokens.
treasure-
Food tokens have been on the top for far too long. Way too overpowered.
Oh yeah.
Says, I don't know, probably somebody 20 years from now. These food tokens are out of hand.
I feel like treasure tokens aren't too overpowered. It's just mana.
It's just mana. You can make it very overpowered, and in CEDH, that's what you do.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like
Inherently, no, they're not.
no, like oh yeah, infinite mana. Okay.
There's just more ways to get infinite mana. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway. Anything else with Fallout or Magic the Gathering?
No, just excited to see moving forward.
We should definitely think about buying
about
some of
it.
those decks.
Buying them pre-order.
I mean, $40 for a precon, not bad in general.
Again, I'm at least getting one, and then maybe one for myself. If I get you in and one other guy, that's 4 already.
Yeah.
I can buy them. You guys can shoot me the cashola. Done.
Yeah. I did see that, I think I sent this to you as well. Magic the Gathering is coming out with a cookbook.
A cookbook.
I'm going to buy it.
Yeah,
Probably. Yeah, it's kind of a cool little, not maybe
cool.
collector's thing, but kind of collector's thing.
Yeah,
Just kind of, you know,
it's neat.
kind of a fun little thing. Anyway,
Yeah. Magic themed, you get elf recipes and
dwarf recipes and whatever else.
Magic recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the Dungeons and Dragons cookbook, and that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I made a couple meals from there, and it's cool to be like, I had a vegetarian meal one time because of the people I was hosting, and so I made like mushroom steaks from the Elven section.
Interesting.
And then, like, cooking for myself, I'm like, oh, yes, I'm having the Dwarven, like, bangers and mash or whatever.
Mhm.
But it's the flavors there. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking of I'll probably get it. It's just kind of fun.
Yeah, just one of those random little news
Yeah.
things this week. Like, now announcing the Magic the Gathering cookbook. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I wanted to let me pull up the listola here.
Oh, yeah, that was the shopping list. Wrong list. Let's see. Caesar salad? I guess. Sure.
Let's see. One more Magic the Gathering
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
and
yeah,
this
yeah.
will translate into the next thing I saw that I wanted to ask you about.
Mhm.
They came out with the Lord of the Rings scene boxes for Magic.
Yeah.
They look pretty cool.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
It's like their holiday release.
Yeah.
The art looks cool. Again, seems all right. It's a little weird that they're trying to test the waters again with, like, we're releasing a mini set.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are brand new cards in these scene boxes, holiday bundles.
Oh, there's brand new cards.
There's
oh,
brand new
interesting.
cards there. I've only seen like 4 or 5. I don't know if they're all revealed yet. They're supposed to be out before the end of the year. So I don't know where I stand on that because they tried a little mini set earlier this year and that was a wash. But as far as the idea, it's cool. They're definitely trying to cash in on more of the Lord of the Rings IP. Probably while they're allowed to use the license. Don't blame them for that. It's a good idea. And again, it seems like another cool way of, like, somebody who doesn't know Magic the Gathering, but it's like Christmas time, you're looking for gifts, you see it on the shelf, like, oh, cool.
How much are they each?
I don't know. No, I couldn't tell you. But I know more or less they're supposed to be like a bundle. I think you buy them and you just get all the cards.
All of them.
Yeah, that are in the scene box.
So maybe $100.
Yeah, if that. I'd say $100 probably top end, I think. But it is cool because all the cards, you put the art together and they've got like different panels.
Yeah,
art.
that's kind of an interesting little.
So they can't be collector's items. They can be good gifts for somebody who even doesn't play Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I wanted to ask for that. This was my segue into the next Lord of the Rings topic.
Yes.
We're done with Magic.
No more Magic.
No more Magic for at least another 45 minutes.
That's right. Nerds get out of the video now.
Well, but we're still talking about Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
Okay, is that nerds or geeks now?
The true nerds.
The true nerds of the world. New video game coming out,
Yeah.
which I just saw a random article about it, and I was like, "What the freak
Tell
is
me
this?"
about this because I actually had not heard.
Well, the article was like,
we don't have to edit in my surprise. I've never heard of this new video game.
yeah, so it's called Return to Moria.
It sounds awesome.
Well, it's a dwarf game.
It's dwarves.
It's
Yeah.
dwarves, and from what I could see, you're retaking Moria as a dwarf, and it looked like it's co-op.
For Rock and Stone.
It
It's yeah.
looks like it's a co-op game that you just play as Gimli swinging a battle axe.
I can get behind that.
And Moria is such a massive. I mean, the map would be huge.
Ginormous dwarven kingdom underground.
Yeah.
Like
It looks pretty good. Like I haven't not seen very much about it. I saw the trailer.
okay. Is there some gameplay in the trailer at least?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was, and
So it just looks like a third person like action game. You're just over the shoulder swinging.
over the shoulder. Yeah,
Fighting orcs and stuff.
yeah. Eh,
There's gonna be when I guess Balrog's already dead. There's gonna be some cave trolls in there.
yeah. There's gonna be a lot. It looks it.
And co-op would be fun. I wonder if you would do like level-based missions like Left 4 Dead or Deep Rock Galactic, their dwarf-themed game, or if it would be more like a campaign, like an RPG.
I don't know. It was very difficult to tell. It was really just like a cinematic trailer.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it's like
so-
Return to Moria.
all right,
With someone that looks like Gimli swinging an axe. That was like all it
that's
was.
cool. Yeah, we'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's coming out like next year.
I didn't. What was the release date? I don't remember. It was relatively. I think it was relatively soon though.
Gotcha.
So I don't think it was like you're waiting 7 years.
Yeah,
Or whatever.
Now entering early access
Yeah.
for the next 10 years.
It's like Escape from Tarkov is in beta still.
Beta,
It's been in
yeah.
beta for 10 years or something stupid.
That's wild. I haven't seen that as much lately, but early access, probably like 8 years ago, was everybody's favorite thing. Oh, this game's in early access. But you're already charging $40 for the game. You've been in early access for 5 years, and oh yeah, we released the game now. You're like, it's not any different. I don't. What do you mean?
Yeah. So, speaking of releasing games in early access, everyone is so I follow. It's interesting to me. So as you know, and you guys probably don't know, all 13 of you. I enjoy looking at the stock market and business trends and things like that. I have a very business oriented mind, and so I like looking at markets, right, at different markets. And so with Magic the Gathering, the card price market is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
The one that I really love, the nerdy market that I really love though, is CS:GO skins, or sorry, Counter-Strike skins.
Counter-Strike.
Now it's CS2, and everyone was hypothesizing that with the release of CS2, all of the old skins would go up in price, or at least maintain their price.
Yeah, because there's no way to get those ones now. But they did release new ones.
And the results of that experiment were to disprove the hypothesis.
Oh.
The market crashed.
Wow. Very
Some of the more expensive skins, well, the top skins that are like hundreds of thousands of dollars,
untouched.
they're untouched.
Priceless.
The top 1% untouched. The top 10% mostly untouched, maybe minus 1 or 2% here and there. That middle tier,
Just tanked.
nosedive.
Holy cow.
Nosedive.
That's so weird.
Like 25-30%, which is huge.
Yeah, any market.
Oh yeah, if the stock market went down 30%, we would enter World War VII.
Yeah, even if you're just like, oh, yeah, gold fell 30%. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
So everyone's thinking that it's going to come back up. It's just a little dip.
Hey, sometimes
But-
it takes a decade for the market to recover.
The reason is because the game sucks.
Oh, so that's why.
Everyone's like, we thought this was going to be like a good... And to be fair, the prices did tick up a little bit with the announcement that it was coming out this summer.
Yeah.
Prices went up because everyone's like,
The hype.
the hype, right? So they did... It is a bit of a correction,
But
it corrected way more than it needed to.
overcorrected. Yeah.
It overcorrected, certainly. And it's been fascinating to watch because people have lost. There are some collectors and investors because you literally
It's investment, yeah.
it's a legitimate asset class.
As a random side tangent, like, yeah, people make fun of it because, oh, nerds, video games or whatever, but like Magic the Gathering has what they call a reserved list, which are old cards that they've said they're never going to reprint, and investors they look at cards on the reserve list, they buy those cards because they're only going to go up in value.
Yeah,
Wizards of the Coast have stated legally they're not reprinting them, so it's an investment piece.
yeah.
So
Well, and the skins are honestly, everyone's like, oh my gosh, the blockchain and NFTs are such like a revolutionary. Freaking Valve created NFTs 13 years ago.
yeah, it's just a digital asset
And
that you buy, and it gives you exclusive rights to something. And in terms of video games, it's a skin or it's a cosmetic.
well, but what's interesting is in CS:GO, I think CS:GO did it much better because one, it's a usable item, right? It's not just a picture of a 7-pixel
a picture
thing,
of a
right?
gorilla.
Yeah. There's actually some utility, whether that's in game as a cool looking. It's social utility,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Versus actual useful utility, but it's social utility. and you're able to transfer it with minimal fees.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to.
It's true. It's fairly liquid.
It's 100% liquid.
Yeah.
It's 100% liquid because you can. Well, if you're trading, you can trade two NFTs, two of these skins for each other. They act as their own currency,
mm-hmm.
or you can convert them to dollars or to any other currency. And so they really are like they really are the original blockchain.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I think Bitcoin came out before them, but what was I? Whoa! Where was I going with this?
Market crashed. It's a legitimate investment.
Oh, and I've even thought about like trying to set up a little like investment type fund type thing where I, do some really big research and try to put, $1,000 into it or something like that and try to grow that.
Buy some skins.
But
they've been crashing. People say the game sucks.
And so I saw something this morning that was they had the first pro tournament in CS with CS2. And I haven't looked at the markets yet for it because I think it's going to go down further because of this tournament.
Yikes.
Because
some people boycotted before the tournament, right? They announced.
Yeah, they did. But there was some very, very like what the freak just happened moments where the crosshairs of an op were on the target. And it wasn't like, oh, he was still technically moving. No, stationary. He could see, like, they replayed it on, like, I watched some of the pro tournament, and they replayed it in slow-mo, and you see, crosshair. It is done moving.
Uh-huh.
He fires. Nothing happens.
He moves away. Rifle.
He moves away from the target and gets headshot. So you couldn't see the guy he was shooting at.
Uh-huh.
Anymore. So you could see him when he was in the crosshair. He shot the guy. The other guy didn't die. This was an op, so it's like a one-hit kill.
Insanely fast bullets that shouldn't and plus it's a video game. It should be hit scan anyway. There's no projectile speed.
So
coded in.
Then this guy with the sniper rifle moves away so that guy could not physically see him anymore.
Uh-huh.
And that guy headshots him with an AK.
He gets headshot.
And the guy who got shot is one of the best players. His name is Muncie.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, just at his computer, like,
was anybody watching that?
Judge? He's like, yeah, exactly. He literally called over. He's like, is this the game? And they literally just had to say, game as is.
That's a tough job right now with all the controversy on Counter-Strike 2.
Because I mean, even in CS with like the tick rate and stuff like that, there was like some instances where like, okay, yeah, that's like ridiculous, or like there might be like a little bug where it's like there's like a bug exploit that someone that's been banned for the tournament that you can't do for the tournament.
Yeah.
But then someone accidentally like does it and they're like, oh crap, so they have to restart the round or something like that.
Yeah.
But this one is literally just the game.
Yeah, at the pro level, you're not like nobody's hacking, and if somebody accidentally does an exploit. It was an accident, so that's why you have judges.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nobody like installing their aimbot hacks at an official pro tournament.
No. And stuff like this happens with like other pro game or games that have professional leagues, like Smite, for example.
Yeah, sure.
They have some skins that when the map changes, the interaction between the skin and the map is it's just something they can't even foresee, right? Because of the skin is 5 years old and the map is changing and it's new, and then all of a sudden one of the different characters is all of a sudden like when you auto attack, it disables his skin and he just turns invisible, right?
Yeah.
If they figure that out, they ban the skin for pro play until it gets fixed, right? And then sometimes the pro players are just like locking in their character. It's the one they have selected, and it's just like, and they have to restart the match. It's
I don't know any offhand, but of the few like pro scenes, the pro games I've somewhat followed in the past, I'm sure that's happened in League of Legends.
Oh, it happens with every game.
It
happens with every game.
Hearthstone, that's a turn-based card game. It
Yeah,
happens. There's exploits.
It does, and to get the credit of game companies, they try to fix it. The problem with CS:GO right now is that this isn't like a bug.
This is a new feature.
Exactly. and it's like,
It's working as intended.
oh man,
Yeah.
like I think it's so crazy that they had the beta open. Like we've been seeing
Months.
content from CS2 for months.
Maybe almost a year. Do I dare say?
No, not quite a year.
Okay,
No,
not
it was June or July of this year when they released
for the beta.
for the first beta.
I was like, it's probably at least been announced for a year.
Oh, it's been announced for maybe not quite a year, but you're probably
Okay.
close. Probably close. I think you're right.
All right.
But
Open beta. I mean, that's or semi-closed beta. This is when they had tons of testers.
well, the original beta was closed. You had to be
Yeah.
you had to be invited by Valve, and so
Makes sense.
all the pro players got invited, obviously, and then a bunch of the content creators and stuff like that.
We're still waiting on our invite.
Yeah, we are Valve.
From probably any game, honestly. But yeah, we'll take Counter-Strike too.
Yeah, honestly, any game company was like, "Hey, play this game. Well, here, just play the game.
We'll review it.
We'll review it, play it,
That's an
give you our
open invite.
feedback to any game company. Any game company. You could be.
An indie game company.
An
You
indie
be
game
one
company.
guy in the garage. I don't care.
I'll play your little asteroid blaster.
I like video games. I'll review them.
Same.
Yeah.
I will. Anyway,
Anyway.
this little shameless pitch for our. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been fascinating to see.
Controversy.
Yeah, it's
It is when there's money on the line, especially.
and Valve made when CS2 came out, like the day that everyone could like update their CS:GO to CS2.
I had to update mine 3 times, but yeah.
I don't know if that was a Valve problem or a you problem.
I'm willing to admit that was a me problem. I'm not so proud.
Because I did it once.
But
But
the day it released.
they made $60 million that day.
Jeez.
And this is a free to play game.
Yeah, free to play. Like,
Free to play
you
game.
should download it.
Everyone just opening cases and like trading
They're
knives.
buying the keys and opening the boxes,
Yep.
selling the skins.
Yep.
Valve gets money every time you transfer skins.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like
60 billion, that adds up. That little Steam fee that pops up when you try to sell something, it's like, oh, there's going to be a 2-cent tax on this. I'm like, yeah, whatever, who cares? But
well, and the buyer pays it.
yeah, the buyer pays it, exactly. So I'm like, yeah, I don't care.
Like
But
whenever I sell any of my skins that I like randomly get or whatever, I'll put it up online, or like a case or something like
Yeah.
that because I don't open cases yet. I've been thinking about investing in those too.
investments, that one's a gamble. I don't know. It's
Well, not opening them, just
not
like
open-
buying
oh,
the actual
buying the
cases.
Yeah,
From,
no, that's fine.
yeah, because they think everyone is surmising that the new operation is coming out because the last one, the newest case so far is 2 years old,
Oh yeah, it's got to be coming out soon.
and so they're thinking that they're gonna have the first CS2 case, and I'm like,
Just buy those and sit on them.
right?
Yeah.
Like buy 100 of them at $2 a piece, $250. I'll take. I gambled way more on Dogecoin than I did on. And I did have a job then, but not a very very well paying job. I was in school,
Yeah, yeah.
so like,
$250. Yeah.
I mean, I'll spend $250 on that.
Yeah. Surely you'll at least break even. I don't know. Or if not.
Well, the value of the case won't ever go down.
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the thing.
And if
Like
not, like you've got cool skins. You know, that's a cool thing about like,
potential news, cool.
yeah,
things.
in theory, the cool thing about NFTs is like, oh, at least you have something. You get something immediately. So there's some value to it. What do you do with a Dogecoin? I don't know.
That's a good point.
Or if you're just like wasting real money, like cash on an investment just tanks to zero, you're like, oh well, I just 100% wasted that. There's no value.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm thinking, I'll go in and however much the operation cases are, the new ones, I'll probably just buy.
You're not boycotting Counter-Strike?
No, I don't think it's a boycottable game
No. When they make 60 million.
in a day.
And also, they're gonna fix it eventually. You know they will.
Yeah,
The gameplay is still good. That's not enough to stop you from just playing the game.
yeah, and it really, to be fair, it really is kind of only like the higher level stuff that's
That really matters.
really being affected.
At our level, it's still just as annoying to get headshot by an AK. Doesn't matter.
It might be a little bit more annoying now
Yeah.
because it can't happen around walls now.
Yeah. And you're like, come on. It was already cheap before, but that's extra cheap.
Yeah. I was playing with a guy the other day. This is just story time with Steven.
Uh-huh.
I was playing with a guy the other day, and his inventory. I picked up his. I was playing on CT. He was playing on Terrorist,
Yeah.
and he got killed. So I picked up his AK.
Yeah.
It's like a $7,000 AK,
Oh.
and I was like, wait.
Wait, what?
And I don't track I don't know the prices of like all the guns or anything like that. But I was like looking at it and I was like, I recognize this skin.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is like a factory new version of this skin. And I looked it up. It's like $7,000. It was the
Damn.
what is it called? It's like the Aztec Mayan looking one with like the snake on it. It's a sick looking skin.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
But yeah, he has a knife. It's like a $3,000 knife. And I was like, you're just playing in casuals right now?
Just
Just dinking around? He was super good.
He's just warming up.
He must have been because his account was private
Yeah. Okay.
on Steam. Because I tried to look at his inventory to see like what else he
See
had.
what else he had.
Because, it's kind of fun.
That is fun.
Kind of fun.
But now he's private.
Yeah, he had his Glock was one of the Gamma Doppler Glocks, which is like the emerald color, or no, the blue colored slide on them. They're pretty
Okay.
sick looking.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Did we have one more topic, or is that
I think that's just about everything. I could talk about Baldur's Gate next week.
Sure?
Yeah.
Shorter episode today. Oh, shameless pitch for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
That's right. Arizona supports
2-2, going into the third game.
Third game. We'll know by next week if they're in the World Series or not. So
I sure do hope so.
yeah, that'll be fun.
First time since 2001.
Yeah, the second time in our
Oh
lifetime.
yeah, second time in their lifetime.
Yeah, that's also true.
So.
That'll be neat. Neither of us are like huge baseball fans, but we enjoy baseball.
I like going to the games.
Yeah, I like going to the games too.
I
like
watched
watching baseball.
I watched the two games in Arizona on my phone at work the other day.
Nice.
Well, yesterday I just had it on my phone because it started at 5, so I wasn't at work when I was
Oh
watching
yeah,
it.
yeah.
In any case,
Arizona Diamondbacks. It'll be cool. It'll be
let's
fun.
go. Alrighty. That's all she wrote.
Next time.
Next time on the 5G podcast. Dun dun.
If you're still watching.
If you're still watching, thank you.
Roll credits. Thanks for watching this week's episode of the 5G podcast. We hope you enjoyed.
As always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content.
We're available on all social medias, as well as you can watch or listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.
Again, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next week.
Thanks.